Good morning and welcome to Weekend Walkabout in our gardens near virtually.
This is gardenatz.org. I'm Janet McConovich.
I'm Stephen Nicola.
And our main topic today is the collector's garden. Actually, collectors' gardens. I think I varied how we showed it.
Yeah.
It's all about harmonizing diversity. And if you're going to be a collector, how the heck do you do that? But first, we're going to talk about in our garden in this time of year, which we call our free time. Any current topics that you've got going, any issues that you want to talk about. We've got a little question break before we get into collectors' gardens, and we'd love to hear about it. We call this our free time because it's the time of year when there's not really anything that we can do or much we can do in the garden itself. And it feels like, oh, there's all the time in the world before it's spring. We happen to know that come Groundhog Day, we'll suddenly both be going, we have to get things done. And I have a lot of words to write. Steve has a lot of pictures to take. Our daughter, Sonia Nicola, is with us today. Thank goodness. She's also our emergency backup because we've got a weather situation going on here where we're not sure the internet's going to stay on. And we might have a blip out.
So good.
Yeah, but we have 2 or 3 backup plans. The first backup plan went out the window while I was out shoveling last night. I came in and called to see if we could hack up our computers if we'd had no internet early this morning and take them over to a house where they have more assured internet. And that would work if we didn't have a whole bunch of branches down on the driveway preventing us from getting
out. Yeah.
That's an interesting week. We've been writing for a long time and we still just really enjoy writing. We consider putting these webinars together writing. And
it's a form of
it's very engaging and very it gives us a lot of good feedback, and we hope that it helps you out too. And we hope that you do look at the website once in a while. This Week in Our Garden is where we post things like we're going to talk about right now.
And we hope you had a happy holiday, because we did.
Yeah, we had a good holiday before. About the 15th of December, Steve shredded up a bunch more mulch for me, and I was able to finish the edging. December 22nd, I finished the last edge that needed doing. Oh, that's right. You're supposed to have a pointer. There you go.
I just realized it this late.
Yeah,
I
finished that. That was the last edge I was working on. And while I was working on it, now that's my glove. Imagine that. Show them a finger of the glove, Steve. So that's my glove. And while I was going along that, about the length that you saw there, I found 3 of these little guys, which is not an infestation. It's just, I have not seen this caterpillar before. Looked at him, I said, who are you, for crying out loud? It may be one of the
and this is maybe because
he wouldn't uncurl. It was kind of cold. He wouldn't uncurl. And I wasn't going to force him to uncurl because he might be a new one. We haven't seen this one before, and we'd like to add another caterpillar and butterfly or moth to our list. It may be just a tallow moth. There are quite a few different kinds of them. But since I didn't force him to uncurl, I couldn't see what his head looked like. And we'll see. We'll see what it is. But it's always fun to find something new. So, ooh, what's that? And it's so bright green, you can't miss it. Also got all my gloves washed and put away, which was kind of fun to do. And then went out to walk the dogs. We had Sonia and Cam's 2 labs with us, so we had 4 labs to walk.
And they are food-driven labs. In case you can't tell.
Yeah, in case you can't tell, Janet has a treat in her hand.
A treat.
Yeah. While we were having fun and kind of relaxing over Christmas, because our son and his family went to Florida. So we postponed our Christmas gift giving with them, which gave us extra time to finish the project. Stuff all over the office. While they were there, they sent us pictures of, look, there's dolphins jumping just down the channel from where we are. At which point Sonia, who was on that same link, she said, well, we're swimming over here too. There's both of her labs swimming to shore in the ice with and I don't know how they get across the ice. And then Sonia took off. That's why we had her labs. She went to Scotland and sent me a couple of pictures of what the gardens look like in the winter in Scotland. And we have this idea because you read stories about the Scottish Highlands and all the snow and how cold it is and how terrible it is to think that it's January and 20 degrees is cold there. So Sonia was in Scotland, the kids were down on the Keys, and we got to put up our new Christmas present from Sonia. Isn't he cool?
And the coolest door knocker
ever.
Yeah.
And it looks especially cool from the inside. It still keeps stopping me as I come up the stairs and go, oh, what's that?
Especially since we've got
birds. of all kinds.
Woodpeckers all over.
And the FedEx guy came yesterday, Steve, he had that package. He came up and he rang the bell and he ran and
And he
he pulled
did
the knocker, yep.
Oh, good.
And then I wrapped up the season with the day with Diana, a friend of mine, and we went over to see Jermaine. Hi, Jermaine. Those of you who know Jermaine, she's doing great. And we went out into the garden and there they were. Primroses, primula. Actually, this is probably primula hybrid of one of the just standard ones that you buy all over the place. And there it is, blooming in January.
Yeah.
So I came home from being at Jermaine's and said, hey, Steve, I haven't been out for a week. What's up in our yard? So Steve went out and he got out just before the snow came
Just,
down.
this was yesterday.
Just before the snow came down.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm gonna start us around back, yeah.
The evergreen color, you know, my objective when I went out was to shoot winter foliage. What draws our eye in foliage wise, so. Took a couple of overalls, but basically walked around.
Looking for nice looking plants.
Yeah.
I see in chat that Karen Harrison was out edging on Christmas Day. I was out weeding. But you're right. This is the first year in 20 or 30 that I actually got all my edging done.
Yeah.
In the fall. We're gonna start around back. We walk around out the back first because I saw this picture that Steve took of the juniper. I was telling you in our last meeting that I plucked all the leaves out of this juniper in order to keep the weight of snow from building up. And I look at this picture and go, oh no, I missed a whole bunch of leaves. Look, they're right in the center there. I hope that didn't get matted down and broken some more because that's extra weight.
Yeah.
So we're gonna walk and talk.
I like that. And then you
I noticed these too. Steve was taking pictures of it. This is Corydalis lutea, the golden bleeding heart. But Steve takes a much nicer picture of it than I do. Look at it. That's new foliage coming up.
It's growing.
Yeah.
It's photosynthesizing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Laying down there having a good time. And actually the snow ends up insulating it. If the snow can cover something and keep the ground at freezing, that's not colder than 32. So it's an insulation. So our Filipendula vulgaris, the dropwort or meadowsweet, is all pretty reliably evergreen, and it too has new foliage. You can see the new
shoots coming straight from the base.
So people worry, they say, I cut it back in the fall and it started growing, it'll be okay. It started using next year's buds. It's using next year's buds, but it's making next year's energy already.
Yeah,
and
because the roots are still growing.
Right, feeding more buds. The true evergreens, like the European ginger, they're fine. They got a little holy problem here and there. Not much though.
No,
not much. I'm hoping that pine branch that came crashing down did not hit the viburnum again because it already lost its middle.
Hope not.
But look at the viburnum buds. They're called naked buds on viburnum. There's no scales on them like there are on a lilac or a maple tree that are seals over its buds to keep the moisture in. They just sit there in the winter. Sometimes down to zone 3 and 2, some of those guys, and
how do they not freeze?
Pretty impressive.
That's all the parts that are going to grow next year.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
the entire shoot that's going to grow next year, right inside that bud. All leaf and stem condensed. Condensed, is that the right word? Anyway,
as this plant grows, there may be years we'll have a significant amount of foliage, and there may be years that it'll be sparse like this.
Yeah.
So that's.
I was surprised to see this gentian growing, but then I thought about it, and it's a blue gentian, a beautiful blue flower, and most of the blue flowers in the world are high altitude flowers. So of course it doesn't mind the cold. And so that's a new shoot growing in the middle. Is it a problem if it gets killed back? Not really. It's photosynthesized the whole time that shoot is sitting there in the sun, and the meristem that's causing it to grow is actually nestled further down in. It's not going to kill that back. We took the wannabe Christmas tree until they found out how picky it was.
Yeah,
at our front house. Yeah. And we've tied it into the corner because we found that that's a protected corner near the heated bird bath and close enough to the feeder area that it gets loaded with birds in the winter time.
And not only that, the drier vent is over here, and at certain times it could get pushes warm
Warm
air
air.
up in that.
It's unfortunately, it pushes moist, warm air, and if you've got a plant near a dryer vent,
That could be a problem.
that can freeze and thaw needles and
That's
buds.
a dead plant. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And thereby, we've let loose we call it a weed when it spreads like this, but it sure is a beautiful weed. This is the creeping forget-me-not growing. You can see buds coming up everywhere.
It's,
See centers, see new growth coming there
Yeah.
and there and there. And it's covering a big, I started it with one little plot, and yeah, Steve says we got to keep it, and I think we do too. It's a beautiful plant and it belongs at the edge of a pond.
but we can't let it overrun our lobelias and
Yeah.
other things.
Yeah, we were wondering why the cardinal flower wasn't as big, and then when I went out there and took a closer look at it, well, yeah, it's got creeping forget-me-not wrapped all around its crown. The Tiarella home flower, this is the creeping one that actually does run like strawberries. That's our native one. It's running around the edge of the bench, and the true evergreens are just beautiful. I divided this hellebore last year, actually would be a year ago, in the fall before this growing season started. I didn't expect with such a small division that it would bloom yet, but I think I see
It's
two buds
two
come.
buds, and not only that, that's all new growth since November.
Yeah, and so how do your hellebores manage? Usually the big leaves stay there and kind of give a little extra cover to the new stuff.
Yeah,
If you want to cut the leaves off, because you can see that this is, the leaf is becoming tattered, and by next spring it'll be brown and not attractive. You can cut those leaves off because new leaves are going to come. It's evergreen
Yeah.
with 1 year leaves. But if you do that, take a branch of a spruce or a pine and put it across the
And it
top,
protects
give
the
it a little
top
extra
of your-
protection to your flower buds.
one of our favorite is the holly now.
Yeah, I thought, before we went to the library in November, I thought I cut all of those water sprouts, straight up pieces out of the holly.
Mm-mm.
But look at that. There, a friend told me that he was told by his mentor in pruning that after you prune, walk around the plant clockwise and walk around the plant counterclockwise. And you're going to see different things going in different directions, but always walk around a couple times and check to find the pieces that you missed.
Oh, photographers do that for shots.
Yeah.
all the
You
time.
must have caught these on the side of the house.
Mhm.
This
I don't
is-
even know what.
It's
couldn't
money,
remember what they were.
it's money plant, Lunaria annua, which is a funny name for a biennial. The base grows last year in the fall and the spring, and then it blooms the next year. And it's a member of the mustard family. Just letting us know that all those mustard family things like the bittercress and tall rocket and whatever, they are having a happy
The
time.
cool
right now.
season.
Yeah, cool season plants are growing like crazy. We didn't actually plant those, they're the neighbors, but we let them come up in
Yeah.
an area. Also notice the hawk that we have been watching chase squirrels must also have hit a bird.
Yeah,
Cats don't usually.
cats don't spread feathers.
Yeah, don't spread feathers in a whole bunch of directions. The Campanula, this is the same species of plant as the Campanula that Karen recommended to us, the Blue Waterfall, I believe its name was. And this one sits close to the front door and just enjoys spreading itself around in those rocks there.